You were going to start the show.
No, I was going to do a different format.
Oh, then you should have told me. Instead of like
Uh,
just having me sit here and babbling this whole time, I think you're going to hit the live button and then you don't. So I've just babbled to you for like no reason. There's nobody watching. I'm just complaining. I'm just basically bitching off camera. That's all I'm doing at that point.
Sure.
Not now because you actually hit the live button. So,
I did.
hello, everyone.
And I would
And I
love
timed it
to
for 30
say a
seconds.
couple of words before I punch the music.
Go for it.
All right. Dolls are supposed to be. Oh, wait. Let me try that. There's something deeply unsettling about dolls. They look like us, they're meant to comfort us. They sit quietly on shelves in corners and children's rooms, and yet in horror, they become something else entirely. A vessel, a watcher, a thing that moves when no one's looking. Today on Sako and the Moon, we're diving into dolls and horror, why they terrify us, what they represent, and how something so small can carry so much dread. So dim the lights and maybe don't look directly behind you, just in case. Oh my God.
I was going to jump in this time, but then like my throat was hurting and I've been like chewing on halls for the last couple of days.
Oh,
So it just
okay.
sounded weird. Like I'm not a great singer anyway, but it would have sounded like extra weird and like you can hear it in this. Like it's extra graggly. Is that the word I'm looking for? I don't know.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Anyway,
I'm get I'm gonna share our link in places.
I moved my camera to show my shelf and then I fucked it all up.
You silly, silly person.
I am. I need a Snickers or something. Not sponsored.
Not not sponsored.
But if Snickers wants to sponsor the show, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I'll just eat a Snickers.
Wegmans can sponsor me because that's like all I'm ever drinking on stream.
Whatever I'm drinking is in this wonderful Sako in the Moon mug. Available at juanlhearn.com/shop. Anyone curious? Yes, the money will be split between me and Sako. It will because duh.
Yeah, we should do a joint account or something.
I'll just like Venmo you whatever your half is. That's fine.
Oh, okay, that's cool too.
That just makes sense. I'll just Venmo you your half. I can show you paperwork. It's all good. See, now I've said this out loud on air, so now everyone else can hold me accountable. See how that works? Like, no. We heard him. We heard him say. We heard him say. He said it in the Publix. Good morning, Amanda. Where's everybody else? Didn't you bring other peoples with you? Bring other peoples with you. Go tell the other peoples to come forth. Bring them to your scribal chief.
Your scribal chief.
Yes. Bring them forth to your scribal chief.
Okay.
It's a thing that me and Sabata started a long time ago. It was a horror and wrestling kind of combination gag because Roman Reigns is the tribal chief. That's his gimmick, and so we reworked it to be the scribal chief because we write. And when I called James the scribal chief, and then he bought me an ulafala, which is the symbol in Samoan culture for like the king or the leader of that community. They wear an ulafala, the red thing on top of the world title. So he got one for me,
Oh,
and so as far as I'm concerned, that makes me the Scrabble chief. I'm the one with the ulafala. So I was going to do this whole entrance thing because I was going to do a roast, and I had this whole entrance planned at Imaginarium last year. But then we scrapped the roast, and Sabata couldn't make it, so it's just like, it's not ironic.
yeah. Okay, so I'm doing something a little different this time.
This is a surprise to me too, everybody.
I have an outline of scripting that I would love to make some points in a spooky manner.
Ooh. I don't have any spooky music to add to this.
I don't think I do either.
We'll have to work on that. We'll have to add spooky music at some point. We'll add it in post. No, we won't.
No, we won't.
Go ahead.
Okay. Dolls are supposed to be harmless. They're toys, decorations, gifts. Something given to a child to comfort them, to help them imagine, to give them something soft and familiar in a world that can feel overwhelming. And yet, so many of us have at least one memory of a doll that felt wrong. Not dangerous, not alive, just wrong. Maybe it was in the eyes. Maybe it was the way it sat in the room. Maybe it was the feeling that if you turned your back for too long, something about it might change. That feeling is where horror begins. Because dolls live in a strange space between object and person. They are shaped like us. They resemble us. They are designed to be handled, cared for, even loved. But they are not alive. And that gap, that almost human space, is where our brains start to panic.
That was dope. And also very true. The short black version of that is fuck dolls. The end. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't fuck with dolls in real life. I don't. I can't do it. Like, if it's a Funko Pop, like, I can fuck with those.
Those don't stare like
they have like
Cupid dolls.
No, they have like blank eyes, right? This is Stephen King. Like it's just blank eyes.
Ah, thank you.
Just blank eyes.
I have the whole podcast planned out like that. I'm gonna try for the best.
I'm down for new formats.
There's a concept often brought up in horror called the uncanny valley.
Yes.
It describes the discomfort we feel when something looks almost human, but not quite.
Just off.
Dolls sit directly in that space. They have faces, but they don't emote. They have eyes, but they don't see. They have bodies, but they don't move, at least not on their own.
So we think.
And because we are so close to being human, our brains try to fill in the gaps. We project onto them. We imagine thoughts, emotions, intent. And then we start to feel watched. That's the trick of the uncanny. It's not just that dolls look strange. It's that we make it feel alive, and then we become afraid of what we've created. So when horror stories take that next step, when the doll actually does move or think or act, it doesn't feel like a leap. It feels like confirmation. Like something we already suspected has just been proven true.
Story of my life. Story of my life. Fun fact, like when I was given the stories for Copperweight, that's about all I was given. I was given a name and like a concept. And the first concept I was given was Uncanny Valley. And I didn't know what that meant. So my buddy David had to explain it to me. And so it's just like, yeah, it's things that are just like, just off from normal, enough to be weird, enough to be creepy. So Katie is a story where the creature is, the threat is uncanny. But that's kind of the thing about dolls. Like, they look almost right. They move almost right. When you start seeing them move, they move almost right. Megan is a good example. She's a robot.
Oh, yeah.
But she's a robot, but at the same time, she's like a doll. She's doll shaped. She's made to be like a large doll so she can comfort the child. It's a toy. It's a robot, but it's a toy. It's designed to be a toy. And she moves naturally, but as naturally as a robot moving naturally can move. We know what robot movements are, and we're cool with that. And we know what normal movements are, and we're cool with that. But when you get like one trying to be the other, like a robot trying to be human, or your friend at the prom trying to do the robot, it's weird. It's weird either way. One weirder than the other, and you know which one it is, Fred. You know which one it is.
Yeah, Fred.
Yeah, Fred. Quit dancing like that. It's strange. It's okay. There wasn't an actual Fred. But yeah, that's one of the things that lends dolls to horror. That's why we have so many dolls in horror. Is the boy, he filled in the blank for someone's son, right? It's not their son, but is it their son? Is it a smaller version of the son? Like a 5-year-old and a large doll are about the same size. What's the difference if you're not quite in your right mind? Chucky, literally a serial killer in the spine in a doll, was able to sit in a house without detection. And it's such a weird concept that even when Andy was telling people exactly what happened, people are like, bitch, it's a doll. This is harmless. It's a toy. And I think that's the other part. We associate children with innocence and toys with children. So just like in math, how if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C.
Mm-hmm.
I know I just went super nerd on you people. I'm not even sorry. Then if kids equal innocent and toys equal kids, then toys equal innocent. So these dolls have an inherent listen, I'm supposed to be nice to people, and I try to be kind. Listen, you shouldn't have called me out in public. It was the shoulders. That's what it was. It was the shoulders weren't robotic enough. Too real. I love a random bit.
You called out her robot.
Not really. She's just doing a bit. Anyone who knows me in public knows I'll go into a bit like instantly. It's part of the improv. It's why I love doing live shows with no script. For me, at least, I don't need a script. I'm funnier without one, at least to me. But as I was saying, kids and toys equal innocence, and that's when the innocence becomes the threat. Something unpredictable, unseen, unthought of. That's where the horror comes from. That shift off the norm. And dolls are just fucking weird.
Not all horror dolls function the same way.
Is this true?
In fact, they tend to fall into a few distinct categories.
I'm listening.
The first is the possessed doll. The
Chucky.
the idea that the object itself is just a container for something else.
Yeah. So like Chucky, Annabelle.
Something unseen, something invasive. A well-known example would be, Annabelle, where the doll isn't just creepy, it's a conduit,
Right, right.
a vessel for something that shouldn't be there. And in these stories, the fear isn't really about the doll, it's about what's inside it.
Yeah. The doll is the manifestation of the actual threat.
It's about the idea that something can enter our world quietly, hide in something familiar, and watch us without being noticed. Then there's the second type, there's the autonomous doll. The
So
doll
like
that
Megan.
the doll that moves on its own, thinks on its own, acts with intention, like in Child's Play.
I'd still say Child's Play is more of a possessed doll. It's
Yeah,
Charlie
that's
Ray.
fair.
Charlie Ray possess. It's a good guy doll. So that's just a possessed doll like Annabelle was. But I think Megan is a better example of an autonomous, a doll that moves on its own. Who doesn't love a good bit?
Who doesn't love a good bit? This kind of horror is more direct, more physical. The threat is visible, immediate. But it's rooted in that same discomfort because the doll shouldn't be able to do any of this. And then there's the third layer underneath both of these, which is control. Dolls are meant to be handled, positioned, posed. They are, by design, objects we manipulate. So when a doll becomes the one in control, when it starts acting instead of being acted upon, it flips the relationship completely. And suddenly the question isn't just what is the doll doing, it's what does it mean to be controlled?
Yeah, it's when the puppet becomes the puppet master. Like
Companion.
Companion. Yeah, yeah, I'd go with that. I'd agree with that. Not my companion. Not the movie I did. That's a different companion. The one
Different
that
different
the,
companion.
the mainstream companion.
Yeah.
Which was an interesting movie. It's an interesting movie. It's in that weird space where it's like not quite like Megan, so it does feel like it fits into like a separate category of its own.
Because it's a robot as opposed to a flaccid doll, for lack
Yeah,
of a better term.
yeah, because like, well, and that's the thing. Like Megan is in the weird. Maybe it's Megan that's in the weird space because Megan was a robot to be a doll. Was a robot built to be a doll.
Mm-hmm.
It was created by a toy maker to be a toy for children, but it was a robot and it basically acted like a babysitter. Um, so I guess it's like this interlacing back and forth between those particular characters. I forget the name of the robot in Companion, but
Yeah, I can't remember either.
now I'm gonna have to look it up. It was a decent movie though.
It was. I liked it.
It had Jack Quaid in it. You can't go wrong with Jack Quaid.
Mm-hmm.
Iris.
Iris.
Iris is the name of the robot.
Yeah. Okay. Dolls are deeply tied to childhood, like
As
you
of course.
said. Yeah. They exist in spaces that are supposed to be safe, in bedrooms and nurseries and playrooms.
Yeah.
They're associated with comfort, care, imagination. So when horror takes that image and twists it, it hits differently. Because it's not just fear, it's betrayal.
Yes. Great way of putting it.
The thing that was supposed to protect you, or at least keep you company, is now the thing you're afraid of. This is where dolls become more than just scary objects. They become symbols of corrupted innocence, of something pure that has been changed or broken, or turned into something else entirely. And that is a recurring theme in horror as a whole.
Yeah.
That the idea that safety is temporary, that comfort can be an illusion, that the things we trust the most can become unfamiliar and even hostile. With dolls, that transformation is immediate and visual. You don't have to explain it, you just have to see it.
I think comfort is an illusion. Lunchtime doubly so. I think that's the kind of the heart of horror in general. Um, you make a great point when you talk about something that is so familiar and comforting being in such a safe space. And then it's the space that gets corrupted because if if the doll is in the nursery, right, where you put your most precious of possessions, your baby, right, where if the entity now possesses that space, what's safe? If the doll's in your home and your home is now where the doll resides or is taking over, what's safe? There is no there is no safe space for you anymore. And when you no longer have a point of comfort that you can always lean back on, what do? You become instantly lost. Um, and I think that is part of the horror appeal of dolls. Yeah. Jeff Dunham, we're watching you.
We
We're
are.
watching you.
All
We
right.
see you, Jeff.
We see you, Jeff. And your creepy dolls.
You creepy ass dolls.
Doll horror isn't limited to just one culture or one style of storytelling.
No.
There are real world legends like the Okiku doll, which is said to grow human hair and carry the spirit of a child. Stories like that blur the line between folklore and horror. They make the idea of a haunted object feel less like fiction and more like something that could exist just outside our understanding. And in modern horror, dolls are evolving alongside technology. We are seeing more stories that blend the idea of dolls with artificial intelligence, robotics, surveillance, things that look human, that might even respond like humans, but still feel fundamentally wrong. Which brings us back to the same core fear. Not just that something is alive, but that something is watching, learning,
Yeah.
waiting. Thoughts?
kind of as we mentioned before, um, dolls, if you expand dolls, right, to being statuesque representations of a person or of people, you could look at dolls and look at idols, right?
Mm-hmm.
When there was a point in time where people worshipped idols, which would just basically be a thing that represented their god. Um, in most cases, it was something symbolic. I guess a reference you could use now would be like a cross or like some sculptor of what the god looked like, and worshiping this item. And so dolls and idols and things of that nature have always had a place in history. And there's always been this weird connection, almost a spiritual connection between um, humans and dolls, humans and humanoid inanimate objects.
Mm-hmm.
And I think going through history and using those as references highlights that relationship where did we create the idol or does the idol represent something that maybe created us in this really weird infinite back and forth as
Mm-hmm.
technology has advanced, as you mentioned, AI, robotics, other types of technology in that sense. Yeah, I think it falls back into that same idea. If you look at Megan or look at Iris, um, we created the creature, the toy, the doll in this sense. But then we realized that we did such a particular job that we can no longer control it, right? And we love to create things with the intention to control it. When you're driving a car and the brakes don't work, regardless of how fast or slow you're going, that's nerve wracking because you made this car, maybe not you specifically, but people made the car to do a particular job for you to control. And when it no longer does as told, when told, that becomes a problem. And that to us in that perspective becomes the horror. Um,
The self-driving Google car
yeah, fuck that noise.
that
No,
was it's supposed to drive for you, but it was getting into accidents.
yeah. And can you imagine seeing? I remember watching an experiment done on a self-driving car, and it was supposed to be using its sensors to detect anything in the road, other cars, people crossing the streets, things like that. And it failed a lot.
Oh.
It failed a lot. Because you know when you in most cars, you got when you start backing up, you start getting close to something. Those little circles, the little bitty circles in the back of your car, they're sensors, and they detect an object, right? And so it beeps to you in increasing increments, tempos, I guess, depending on how close you are to it. We trust that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Back in the old days, kids, we used to have to just turn our heads and look. I digress. But they were supposed to use these kind of sensors to detect other things, and now they fail. So I bring all that up to think about imagine being conditioned to trust these cars, and then you watch something in the road and the sensors aren't picking it up, and you're helpless and powerless to stop the vehicle.
Yep.
That is the loss of control that we're kind of discussing with dolls. You make the doll, you fashion the doll, um, and it's supposed to be yours to control, and then it isn't. It does something to you. Another example that I didn't even think of until just now is long legs.
Oh, sure.
In the mind control that was put in those dolls, whether it was Satan or some chemical thing, we're going to call it Satan because long legs was weird. Um, but It's the same thing. Imagine just being gifted a doll and all of a sudden you are powerless against the control, the thought to murder your family.
Yep.
You can go, if you're confused, you can go back and watch our review on Long Legs. It's on the
Yeah.
channel. Let's go back and watch
I'll
that
put
review.
it in the cards.
And I think that's where dolls in horror settle.
Mhm.
It's in this who's controlling who, what's controlling what. And most horror is told from the perspective of the person experiencing it. And horror is subjective. Horror is subjective. But from the perspective of the characters that we have, it's we intended to have control and then we lost control. That's what creates fear. It's if I can't control it, what will it do now? Some cases it's will it retaliate for how I treated it previously, or what is its intentions now that it's autonomous, type of thing.
Yeah.
And none of that feels good from our perspective.
Yep. They don't chase you. They don't need to
Megan will chase you after she dances.
after she dances. But they sit and they wait. They exist in the background. And somehow that's worse. Because the fear isn't in what they do, it's in what they might do.
Yeah.
It's in the stillness, the possibility. And maybe that's why dolls endure in horror. Because they don't just confront us with monsters, they confront us with ourselves and the things we project, the things we imagine, the things that we can't quite explain. And once that idea takes hold, it's very hard to shake the feeling that something in the room with you isn't as still as it should be.
Yeah. I snap, but my hand is full.
Oh, okay.
No, but no, you're right, and that becomes the unknown. I always say fear exists in the space of the unknown. The more you know about a subject, the more you know about a thing, the less scared of it you'd be. I was just talking. I just did an interview last night with someone, and I was asking them about the first time they attended a particular convention, and they didn't know anyone there really. Maybe not a lot of people, and so there was an anxiety, fear for what for lack of a better term, of who are these people? How will they accept me? So on and so on. And once you're there and you experience it, there's less to fear because now what was unknown is now known. And I think that's why horror is what it is. We create a situation that we think we know, and then it's revealed to us that we don't know what the fuck we're looking at all. So in the case of dolls, I look at a doll, I go think back to Chucky, and because that's a great example of dolls in horror. He's the king of dolls in horror. You look at Chucky and he sits on a shelf. He's a popular toy, right? There's Chucky dolls all over the place, and he's just one of millions of dolls. So seeing it on a kid's shelf means nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he's not on the shelf anymore. And next thing you know, the babysitter's out the window.
Mm-hmm.
The only person there was the babysitter and the kid. And they're looking at the kid like, yo, why'd you murder the babysitter? He's like, I didn't do nothing. The toy did it. I'm sorry, you what? Yeah, the toy did it. It's like, how can a toy do it? Toys can't move. Toys can't commit murder. What are you talking about, kid? And this is like most of Chucky is a great movie, but a lot of the early movie is just Andy going, "I didn't do it, Chucky did," and that's most of Chucky 1. Gets a lot better throughout the series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like Chucky 1 is one thing, but like Bride of Chucky, quintessential. Point being, no one knows what to expect from this doll. Situations look like they make sense, but they don't. Why would Andy kill his babysitter? You know, he wouldn't. So then how did the babysitter die? She was clearly murdered given the circumstances. So what could have possibly happened? And the obvious is not obvious at all. It becomes unknown. And that's where fear comes in. People started to become fearful because they're like, we don't know what to do. And that's horror in a nutshell. What do we do? What can we do? Is there anything that can be done? Those are the quintessential questions in horror.
Yeah.
Sip.
Casual sip.
Yes.
We are 36 minutes in, and all I have left is the outro.
I mean, that's the thing about dolls.
I mean,
what else is there to say?
What else is there to say?
Dolls are creepy as fuck. Yeah, and that's the gist of it. Dolls are creepy as fuck. We don't have any here, but we have stuffed animals, which aren't much different.
They're not.
They don't look like humans, but could be just as deadly,
Could be.
And again, it's just one of those things where it exists in a space that should be safe. This is a plushy toy. It's soft. It's full of mush. And it should be safe.
See, I don't find them creepy because I grew up with my grandmother keeping these dolls for protection. And we
didn't fuck with that shit in our house.
Yeah. So I have some very special dolls that I inherited from my grandmother. That is a samurai. And she is quite protective. I think I need to replace the water in the case.
See, we don't have any like culturally significant dolls like that. So
I should post a picture of it sometime.
You should make a post on the channel. But yeah, no, we didn't fuck with that. We didn't fuck with dolls because it just growing up, it was 2 boys, right? It was me and my brother, so people weren't really buying dolls for us. So we didn't have any reason to have a doll in the house. When I had my daughter, there was talks of getting her like an American Girl doll and things like that. Never did anything creepy. I mean, it was just a doll. Now, I'll tell you what would be the first thing that make that doll go away is if my daughter started talking to it and said, yeah, the doll said XYZ. Nope, you gotta go.
I'm also reminded of that movie that we watched for Dr. AC.
Trilogy of Terror.
Trilogy of Terror.
And it was the third story. Third story. And I included an image of that doll on the graphic
Oh, perfect.
I did.
We can talk about him
Shout
for a
out
minute.
to Dr. AC from the channel Horror 101 with Dr. AC.
Yeah, shout out.
To
We
our
should
good buddy
hang out
Aaron.
again.
We should. Maybe we'll get back on the channel at some point, and I'll show up for that episode, the whole thing. That was a scheduling thing, guys. Not totally my fault, but mostly my fault.
Yeah.
I showed up eventually. It's fine. I jumped in. It's cool. But no, he invited us on his podcast, and one of the stories had this doll, and I wish I had like an image of it. Actually, if you look at the graphic, it's the fifth one. It's a little weird African looking tiki doll. That what was the gig of that doll? It was it had like a bracelet on it. That as long as the bracelet was on it, the doll stayed dormant. But I forgot why it attacked.
Because the bracelet fell off.
No, like what was the motivation?
That it was a murderous spirit inside the doll.
I forgot. Yeah, close enough as far as I'm concerned. Because if a doll just comes at me, fuck that doll. That doll was brutal though.
That doll was with that little knife.
That little bitty spear thing. So go to Tubi because of course, and you'll find Trilogy of Terror, and it's basically a Karen Black showcase. It's obviously a trilogy, so there's 3 short stories. You can watch all 3. All 3 are good, but primarily we were there to talk about the third one, and just watch it and then come back and talk to us about it. Matter of fact, go search. You're on YouTube already. Go to Horror 101 with Dr. AC Trilogy of Terror, and you'll find us amongst a few other wonderful people. And then you can see what we're talking about when it comes to dolls. And you can go ahead and like and subscribe his channel. Go in his comments and tell him that we sent you.
Yeah.
Let him know that we sent you over there. And then while you're at it, like and subscribe to this channel so that you can see our beautiful faces. Right? Like, of course. We were called beautiful people.
I put on makeup today.
We were called beautiful people in the first comment. We were called beautiful people. You should want to see more of the beautiful people. Shout out to Velvet Sky and Angelina Love.
Or something like that. Oh,
It was a wrestling group. It was a wrestling group called the Beautiful People.
It was also a song.
Yep, that they used as a theme song for SmackDown.
Oh shit.
Yeah, everything comes back to wrestling.
Son of a gun.
Yeah, you didn't think I could turn that around, did you? Yeah, did it twice.
Yeah, you did.
Because I'm the moon, and I can do that. Mm-hmm. See, that's how it works, Ravencon.
So when can we expect the wrestling podcast to air?
The next one. Yeah. At this point. I was talking with my new co-host Joker, and we might do another live episode on Tuesday night.
Oh hell!
We'll be at 4, but we might do another live episode. Just keep an eye on all the miscellaneous social medias, and you'll know.
Heck yeah!
But I think that's it. After this, I think we're just babbling.
Yeah, we are just babbling. I guess I could talk about. I wasn't gonna mention it, but my poor cats are crying at my door.
Yeah, honestly, it's been about 45 minutes. I think that's a good enough conversation. When the conversation's over, the conversation's over. So this is Sako to me, author and doer of Wearer of Hats and doer of things. I'm Dwan Elhern, more affectionately known as the Moon. I also do things. And yeah, you're here. You're here now. If you're not subscribed to the channel, you bloody should be. My printer is starting to act up. I don't know what it thinks it's doing. So I need to leave this room. On that note, this is where you do the outro thing.
Dolls don't need to move to be terrifying. They just need to exist quietly in the corner of your vision. And maybe that's what makes them so effective in horror, because fear doesn't come from what they are. It comes from what they might become. If you enjoyed today's episode of Sako and the Moon, you might want to check out our episode on haunted technology, which we did last week, where the horror doesn't sit on a shelf, it watches back. And until next time, stay curious.
Before you go, we haven't decided what movie we're going to review next week.
Oh. Annabelle? I haven't seen it.
You've never seen Annabelle?
I've never seen Annabelle.
Let's watch Annabelle.
Okay. Let me write this shit down. I don't know what streaming service it's on.
It was on any.
Well,
I think like Hulu or like Amazon Prime.
I have it on.
Should be
it
should be accessible.
It requires a subscription of some kind.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. But let me play us off screen. All right, we love you guys. We'll see you on Thursday when we review Annabelle.